You ever wonder why you get sleepy around the same time every night, or why you hit that energy slump in the middle of the afternoon? Well, it's not random. There's a hidden 24-hour clock inside every single one of us, a master timekeeper that pretty much governs everything our bodies do. And today, we're going to unlock that clock. Okay, so take a look at this. At first glance, it seems pretty detailed, but it reveals a really fascinating pattern. Our bodies, it turns out, follow a surprisingly predictable daily schedule. For example, your blood pressure is usually highest around 6:30 in the morning, you're typically most alert around 10 a.m., and your best physical coordination, that often peaks in the mid-afternoon. Now, this isn't just you reacting to your daily habits. This is a pre-programmed schedule orchestrated by your internal biology. And this internal timer, it has a name, the circadian rhythm. It's a fancy-sounding term, but it literally just comes from the Latin words for around a day. It's what's known as an endogenous clock, which just means it comes from within us. It's a system that evolved to help us anticipate and get ready for the daily changes in our world, like the sun rising and setting.
Okay, so if this clock is internal, where is it exactly? And, more importantly, how does it even know what time it is? How does it stay synchronized with the outside world?
Well, it turns out the single most powerful signal for this clock is light. When light enters your eyes, it's not just helping you see. A special pathway sends a direct signal from your eyes to a tiny, very specific region deep inside your brain. It's basically telling it, hey, it's daytime, time to be awake. This kind of external cue has a cool name, a zeitgeber, which is German for time giver. And that tiny region is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or just SCN for short. You can think of the SCN as the central command hub, the master clock that coordinates time for your entire body. And get this, if you were to take these cells out and put them in a petri dish, they would still keep ticking on their own 24-hour rhythm. It's absolutely wild. So how does the SCN actually manage our sleep? Well, as daylight starts to fade, the SCN signals the pineal gland to start producing melatonin. Melatonin is often called the hormone of darkness, and its release is the cue that slowly starts making us feel sleepy at night. But here's the thing. The SCN isn't the only clock in town. It's more like the master conductor of a huge orchestra. See, nearly every organ in your body, your liver, your pancreas, even your skin, has its own little peripheral clock. The SCN's main job is to make sure they all stay in sync, playing the same tune. Though, it's worth noting, these other clocks can also be nudged by other cues, like when you eat your meals.
All right, now we're going to zoom in even further. We've gone from the whole body down to the brain, and now we're diving right into the tiny machinery inside our cells, down to the level of our DNA itself.
This whole process is so fundamental to life that back in 2017, the Nobel Prize was awarded to 3 scientists, Jeffrey Hall, Michael Rashbash, and Michael Young, who discovered the actual genes that make this internal clock tick.
What they figured out by studying fruit flies was this incredibly elegant feedback loop. Here's how it works. So-called clock genes create proteins that build up in the cell throughout the day. Once these proteins hit a certain level, they actually go back and turn off the very genes that made them. Then, overnight, the proteins break down, which allows the genes to switch back on and start the whole cycle over again. It's a perfect, self-regulating 24-hour loop happening at the genetic level. Okay, so now that we get the mechanism, let's zoom back out. Because this incredible internal clock, it's not just a human thing. Not by a long shot. It's actually one of the most ancient and widespread features of life on Earth. I mean, it's pretty incredible when you think about it. From the simple daily leaf movements of a plant to the super complex sleep-wake cycles of the human brain, circadian rhythms are found almost everywhere. They've actually evolved independently in plants, animals, fungi, and even some bacteria.
And having this internal timing gives a massive evolutionary advantage. It lets plants time their flowering for when pollinators are most active. It helps monarch butterflies use the sun as a compass for their insane migration to Mexico. It tells moths when it's safe to come out at night. It's all about anticipating the environment to maximize your chances of survival.
But this ancient, elegant biological system now faces a very modern challenge. A world of electric lights, shift work, and screens that glow at all hours. So, what happens when our internal clocks get confused?
The most common example is something we've probably all felt. Jet lag. That groggy, disoriented, just plain awful feeling you get after a long flight. That is your body's master clock screaming that it's 3 a.m. while the sun outside is telling you it's 10 in the morning. Your internal clock and the outside world are totally out of sync. Now, jet lag is temporary, but when that mismatch becomes a chronic thing, say from working the night shift, it can have serious long-term health consequences. When our clocks are consistently out of whack, research shows a clear link to an increased risk for metabolic problems like obesity and diabetes, as well as cardiovascular disease.
And one of the biggest challenges for our internal clocks today is artificial light, specifically the blue light that's beaming out from our phones, our tablets, and our computers. That light hits the special receptors in our eyes and effectively tricks our SCN into thinking it's still daytime. This suppresses the release of melatonin, making it much harder to fall asleep.
So really, it all comes down to this. We've engineered a world that never stops, but our biology is still tuned to that ancient rhythm of light and dark. This isn't just some fascinating biology trivia. It's a fundamental part of our health. So, knowing this powerful clock is ticking inside you, what's one small change you could make to better align your life with your body's natural time?